This is my shortest notes.
Yeah.
The shortest notes that I took are on this episode, especially when I realized that half of it can be summed up in just a couple sentences.
Off you
But
go.
I guess for dramatic effect. Yeah, episode 9, Maiden Mother Crone. The year is 1750
Wow.
AD because CE is cringe and so is BCE. Fucking cringe. Agatha is running through the woods and she's pregnant and she puts a lemon in her mouth and tries to give birth to a baby by a tree.
Yep.
She
Because
sees
that's how labor works.
I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it. I'm legitimately sure
I
there's a reason
assume
for it. It's just
Nuts
kind of
more
silly.
talking
yeah.
about the fact that it seems pretty easy in total. The baby just sort of comes out,
Yeah.
and then she's like, "Well, there it is," and it's like, "Oh." They like don't make it look like it happens for very long either. It's a dangerous process, labor, especially before medical science was able to take care of you, especially with no people around too. But
So
yeah, it worked out just fine for it.
I looked up if the lemon did mean anything. Apparently, it doesn't. People are saying that lemons can be
No,
good
it's
for
for the
pregnancy
bite.
because they have like vitamins and stuff. Because they're citrus fruits. But I don't think it's actually like a thing for pregnancy. It's something for her. Yeah, I think it's something just for her to bite on.
Yeah.
Which actually raises questions because what a weird thing to choose to bite on. A lemon? That's gonna be like it's gonna taste like you're biting into a lemon. Which maybe that'll like distract you, like, oh, I've got a lemon, and you don't like you for a moment you forget that your vaginal canal is just like, oh, my baby time.
That's what it
But
says.
also it's 1750. I don't know where you got a lemon, but that's probably not something you could just go get. But that's all right.
She's a wizard, witch. She wizarded
Oh,
it.
that's
The
true.
witchiness.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So she's trying to give birth to this baby. She's not having a great time. Not having a great time. It's a bit stressful. And she sees Rio, Death, and she is walking towards her. And Rio says, "It must be." Oh no! Agatha's like, "Please let the baby live because you're Death, and also we have like a relationship at this point."
Yeah, just
I
just to be
guess.
clear, because this is an interpretation that I've read that most people have. It's that Death was popping up here because it's like, hey, your kid has to die. That's just the way things work. And because Death is already in love with Agatha, she agrees to give the baby however many years. That's what we're
Yeah.
supposed to take from this. That's insane. Death not only is in love with you, like the concept of Death is in love with you, but that Death is willing to give you something that I presume no one on fucking the universe has ever had before, which is just, yeah, I'll give you some extra years for the hell of it because I love
What
you.
an insanely special privilege.
It's crazy.
By the way,
yeah.
with no downsides whatsoever. You know how deals with death
Yeah.
normal, like deals with demons and death, depending on the like the mythology of the story. Like they could be positive or negative, but often they have like you get what you want, but like monkey's paw kind of situation. This is just a strict positive.
Where do you meet Death? Like,
Death shop.
is there an app or at a club? In the
I
forest?
found myself sitting there waiting for the in exchange for.
Yeah,
You know?
but
No, this is why it's good to be on good terms with death. This is why it's good to be scissoring death so that your baby can get some years.
I guess so.
It all makes sense. It all makes sense in mythology if you read it. It's in the
min-maxing her RPG
yeah, it's in the-
relationships, I guess.
Oh yeah, there's a whole chapter in Edith Hamilton. It's really good. It's really good. Hey, guess what? Death says, "Sure, you can have more time. Your
Bye.
baby can have time." All right, yeah. Off she goes. She squirts out the baby, and oh boy, it's a boy. Your name's Nicholas. And she says that she spoke no spell or incantation. She made this baby from scratch. That's an
So,
interesting line that you could have potentially done something with in a different show. However,
well,
there's
a comment that I saw from Catherine Hahn about that line and Nicholas Scratch. Do you know about this or no?
no. Catherine Hahn is who again?
Main actress Agatha.
Okay, Agatha's actress. Okay.
I'm paraphrasing like crazy, but you can go find it. She says something along the lines of, made from scratch, no spells or incantations. It's like strictly a woman thing. No men were involved with the creation of this baby either.
What? Because
Sorry?
I had.
And
Oh my god, it's like the acolyte again.
apparently
Men
it's
can't
part
even make
of-
babies anymore.
It was something like I saw people speculating like it's part of the show thematically. It's a women's show. It's for women. It's by women. And it's supposed to mean like the power of women when not like involved with men. And I was just sitting there like, wait, I thought like I thought
We don't even get credit for the easy part. Jesus
I,
Christ!
was just
God
confused. I was
damn.
like, I thought by scratch she meant very much like physical, natural human mechanics that had nothing to do with mystical.
Well, yeah, I thought it. One of the things I thought it was interesting was the idea that you have someone who has for so long done these supernatural, incredible things, and yet she has to rely on a purely natural process in order to create a life that she loves. And that's like, you could do something with that as a concept, this kind of awe that a powerful witch can't
Well,
do this
and-
with magic. It still requires like this element of like, well, both of the sexes coming together to create this life through a natural process, and it's this thing that not even the most powerful magic can do.
I saw a bunch of speculation that it might have been Death's baby with her, and I was like, what the
Maybe.
fuck?
That's not how it works.
Well, then I saw the people saying like they deliberately didn't mention the father because there is no father, and I was like,
Well, that was my other
But
question. It would imply that she loved somebody at some point who was a guy, or she just wanted a baby, so she went out and got pregnant by somebody, or like there's a whole implied story behind how this happened. That I guess they're just going, nah, don't worry about it. It's just she's just pregnant. Don't even think about the fact that how that happens.
It's just that straight men are not allowed into this show. Or any
mean,
of
you
the
get that
shows,
feeling.
well, we got
apparently.
the parents. They had
fucking
5
weird.
minutes.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I over
Yeah, I was
exaggerated. They
thinking
had 4
about
minutes. Maybe
I'm
3.
very surprised that the dad was not killed off in some like gruesome.
Yeah, or he wasn't like an alcoholic
Or
deadbeat
if-
loser dad.
Or if when he came out to them, the
Yeah.
dad's like, you know, I'm pretty gay too. I'm proud of you, son.
I divorced your mother when I learned you were gay. Boyf is with me now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what the fuck they were doing with that. Whatever. Moving
I
on.
just thought it was an interesting line in isolation that I thought you could
No,
do
yeah,
something
I think it's
interesting with, like I
better without all
described.
that nonsense. The idea that
Yeah.
she's proud of having created something without using magic.
Yeah,
That makes sense. But oh
Um,
well.
it would, yeah. So she takes the baby through the woods, and then she stumbles across a bunch of witches in the woods, and they let her into their little secret safe circle, and they notice the baby, and she's like, "Oh, I haven't eaten in days," and she tricks them, and then she kills all of them and sucks
Yep.
out their
Like
power.
the first thing that she did.
Yep, we're
Yep.
already going.
Yep.
She's massacring.
She's
just
already
getting-
murdering.
Here she goes.
And they
Um,
even have the sounds of them screaming as they're
Yep.
trying to work together to stop this from happening.
Yep. So they even
What
they
in
said
the
like, but we let you
world?
in, but we let you into our circle. Please
What-
no, don't.
What? Like,
We helped you
why?
because Agatha's evil.
Yeah, but she's so cool
She is
though.
an
We like
evil
her.
character.
You
But
like her,
yeah,
though.
this essentially begins a long cycle of her going from place to place, wandering from village to village in the 1700s, where she finds witches, kills them all to suck out their power, and as Nicholas gets older, as he grows, she uses Nicholas
Yeah,
to
he
get
participates
witches.
in it.
Yeah,
That's
he
right.
participates and recognizes that she's killing witches, and she uses him to murder witches.
Yep.
So like he'll steal something from witches and then run to Agatha, and then Agatha will kill all of them after
And
they go
so
chasing Nicholas.
It is at this point that many people just be like, "What the hell am I watching? Why am I watching this? Why are we watching this? Just murders and murders and murders and murders." That's
Yeah.
Why would this
like
ever be the
25.
choice?
This is meant to
Unironically, I'm
be-
confused.
Bear in mind, this is meant to be like the flashback that further humanizes Agatha. That's the point of
But
this.
Frankie, it does. She sings a song with her kid
oh.
Like
in between the
it-
murders.
Isn't it crazy as well that one of them opens with one of the ladies being like, "Oh, are you lost? Like, are you okay?" And then the kid steals, And it's like, oh hey, come back here, and then you just hear them screaming in agony as they're having their life force like extracted from them by Agatha.
You know,
I don't get it.
etymologically speaking, the root of agony is Agatha.
I mean, basically, like that's all she does. It's just I don't understand. I don't know why they wrote this.
For many years, she goes around the countryside and all of the colonies, and she is just killing witches, murdering witches, and stealing their power. And it portrays all of the witches in the show as being like really nice and chill and helpful and
she
kind.
killed all the nice ones. Only the mean ones were left. If you open that up, you'll see. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with people.
How does this have? It says 48,000 likes, but 5,000 reposts. Or is that?
Yes.
Oh, that's quote. Oh,
Well,
shit.
in any case, just
She
in
just
case
goes
people
around murdering random witches who want to help her.
Yeah, in case people can't see, the tweet says all Wanda and Agatha wanted was to live in peace with their kids, and it shows them both crying at their certain parts of their stories in MOM and in Agatha, and
Like, just for whoever's
50K
left who
likes.
needs to hear this, Wanda's children aren't real.
They're not.
They're not.
She
real.
made them up, and then
They
she
aren't
killed
real.
people
And
to
the
get them
scene-
back.
Yeah, and the scene in this one was her trying to take them from the real mother.
Yeah,
That she had mind controlled to go on a rampage and kill all of these people in the Illuminati, as well as after having killed
Dude.
all of the sorcerers at Kamatage as well.
Agatha also wanted a
After
bit of
having
power,
created-
and then underneath that is God forbid women have hobbies. I don't
And
even-
so it's memes, right? Like it's
Yeah,
actually like whatever. This
But
okay, whatever.
It
Who
feels
cares?
pretty
Like,
difficult to meme it when there's like nothing redeemable or inspiring about either of these fuckers.
They're just evil,
Like, if-
selfish.
If we were
awful
dealing
characters.
with a villain that had like really interesting motivations or did something really good at the different junctures of their life, like I don't, what the fuck is happening here? This whole backstory we're getting for Agatha is just horrendous.
it's
just literally what happens is that Agatha is spared from something really horrible that has happened to people of losing a child. She is spared of that misery.
special treatment.
And the first thing that she does, the very first thing that you see her do, is find a bunch of ladies who want to help her, and then she kills them.
And that's like her plan. That is, the show fails to present to us any reason that could even begin to justify why. She's not being hunted, she's not being chased. By what it presents, witches are just like operating out in the open. In this wonderful
just entire
multicultural
villages?
1756
Yeah,
landscape that we have.
I was gonna bring that up. Bit
is-
awkward in America. Bit awkward, but
Oh yeah, there was quite the racial harmony back in 1756.
yeah.
But that is that's the least of
Hey
this
man,
show's,
she's an equal
issues with
opportunity
the
kills
depiction of-
everyone, witch, okay? Doesn't matter who or what you are. Boom, boom, boom. And
And
that's
this
what
show
makes her
about
so lovable.
femininity and
Well, yeah, there's
Well,
a lot
she,
of
like-
women power happening in this episode.
oh yeah,
and
this
show.
is like I think about Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers and all of the like the stories of men and brotherhood and the bonds and the da. And then I think about, well, let's check out this woman show, Agatha All Along, and you're like, Jesus Christ, she's killing so many women. Oh my God. Oh. Very
Leave
strange.
some alive, please.
I'm gonna say the line. Imagine
Yeah.
if it was a man doing this.
To women?
The thing,
Oh,
I
gee.
can't even like envision them making a
Yeah.
show. It's like, what would it even look like? Doctor Strange, just his grandfather was killing everybody. Or
Something I was wondering if this was happening. What I was wondering is like, is the idea that she's trying to accrue as much power as possible so that when Death returns, that she can like defeat her or something? That was my first thought, but the answer
Still
is
isn't
actually no. No, that's what I mean. I was like, that's terrible. Is that what you're going for though? You're just like, no, she's just doing
I'm
it.
killing
just
killing
because.
everybody else because I don't want to die is not an excuse. But
That's what I
there's
mean.
no,
Like,
they're not being.
my first thing was like, oh, that's still terrible. But then it's like,
they'll
oh,
try.
it's actually for no reason other than to advance her own, to just accrue more power.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yes.
it. That's the only reason she does it.
multiple times in the show she says like witches have to kill to survive, but they never say why. Being a witch seems to be a really chill thing. The only people who seem to persecute witches are mostly Agatha. Seems to be
pretty
the
much,
witch
yeah.
scourge.
Yeah, like
They don't see people rounding up witches or doing like witch trials or anything like that. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't happen in the show. It's never mentioned or alluded to. I don't know. Like, they never show her being oppressed or people chasing after her or finding out like, oh, how come wherever this woman goes, a wake of dead woman is left behind? Like,
This is
nothing.
this is not at the stage of history where this sort of thing would be difficult to track.
Also just like the only one that's ever presented as being able, like, it's like she would be known as the witch sucker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like specifically the power. Because, like, do we ever see anyone else sucking anything from anybody? I guess Wanda counter sucks her. But I remember us covering that, and we literally said, like, she starts sucking her, and then she's sucking her, and we, I don't know, the film, it just says that she wins. And you're like, oh, okay.
One of my favorite things about this sequence is that, I mean, it's obvious that the song was like made up by her child, right? And that's like a myth that she came up with, this Witch's Road. But in modern times, this gay guy has a vinyl, an entire recorded official vinyl of that song playing in his room.
So
by Lorna, yeah, because it's like a spell that because a song is a spell she used to protect her daughter.
Yeah.
Who has her own
Agatha-
tragic demise because of Agatha.
Agatha made it really popular enough that, like, another witch singer picked it up and made it a part of her album, I guess, is what they want us to think happened.
Because it's not just like a random song that... Because even while, essentially, the day that Nicholas dies, a witch approaches her and asks about the song in the road.
Hmm.
So I have no clue how it spreads because of this one kid singing it. Now all the witches know about it, especially if she kills all the witnesses.
Well, remember, it spread
Exactly.
such that basically every witch ever has heard of it, but no characters in the MCU universe ever has ever heard of this.
And also, the witches just don't know that it's obviously bullshit because no one has ever been able to do it ever.
And everyone who pursues it dies.
So yeah, the song
Why
is
doesn't
popular
Doctor
enough.
Strange? Why doesn't he get rid of her?
I guess he just never
just
heard of
dump
her,
her
or
in
never.
the- you
You'd
know,
think the
the-
Ancient One would want to deal with this shit.
He wouldn't want to dare mess with Agatha. She's way too cool.
It's too stupidly unbelievable. There's this insane scaling power level thing that's in the world, and just no faction cares about it throughout all of history. Bullshit.
Add it to the pile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
people
basically,
Yeah.
huh?
I mean, people know all sorts of things about this song and this road and everything, except of the little fact, a little tidbit of information that everybody dies.
I think that one of the
comes into it.
mentions. Don't they? What's the collective information in episode 2? They say, like, Rich's Road is not even real. Doesn't someone say, like, everyone who goes there dies? I think someone says that casually. It was part of why we said, why the fuck would you ever go there if that was something you knew?
So
Yeah.
there's a story that Agatha's done it, or does she spread that
Right,
by herself?
yeah.
'Cause it's a lie.
Because that's a
but,
lie, yeah. She's the only
Um,
witch to ever have made it through the road, I think, is another... It's all
So
garbage.
people know, like, how does she have a reputation and also have the ability to keep luring witches into this to kill all of them? How come? Okay, well, it's like, I guess we get to it. Basically, what happens is, yeah, Nicholas's time runs out, his borrowed time, and he dies one night
sad.
in his sleep. It's very sad. Nicholas is an accessory to many, many, many murders.
He knew what he was doing.
He's old enough. He knew what he was doing. He even asks, like, how come we kill witches? And he even says to her, like, oh, don't worry, we can kill witches tomorrow. We don't have to do it today. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Fuck that kid. So they show a montage of Agatha building covens, saying she needs a coven to go down the road so that all the witches can get what they can desire. But it's just a trick to lure them all into the woods so that she can murder them all and steal their power. And she does this through the centuries. For hundreds of years, she does this. And at no point does one of the witches is a witch strapped with a gat while they were walking through Compton and just blasts her with a Glock or stabs her with a knife. Every single time she says, "You're all stinky and you suck," and they use their power and attack her, and then she sucks it all up and kills them. Which you'd think that if you do this over centuries, and these are all women, you'd think that one of them would just pull out a gun and shoot her instead of use their magic. But I guess every single time, every single witch that she uses attacks her with their fluke powers, and she sucks them up and kills them. And I guess it's like peeing, where you can't just like stop midstream or something. You just have to keep on. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
I mean, she is really lucky that one of them didn't like tackle her and stab her.
Yeah, she
like
is
you said,
legitimately
Judah.
super lucky that
Yeah, they
none
show
of
us
the
every
women
time.
ever.
All of them do the
Yeah.
exact
Every
same
time
thing
they all
every single
attack
time.
the
We're
same-
great. It's
yeah.
great.
They
And
never
the-
use any. They never use any secular means of self-defense.
Hey, and
No
you're
pepper
right.
spray, taser, gun,
And,
knife.
and how many families?
Well, what
has
if one
she
of them-
destroyed? How many?
What if one of them didn't
Yep.
attack?
Yeah. What if they said, "Nah, all right, I guess you're
Yeah,
not
they
for real."
run off
Bye,
or
see
they
ya."
walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
they say,
time
"What
they
if you try
all
again?"
attack, and they all attack at the same time. They don't wait and see that one attacks and then watch and go like, "Oh shit, better not do that." But also like, what are you supposed to think as a viewer while watching this? Like, yeah, go Agatha. Like, really? What? Like, this show is unhinged. It is. I don't understand. I don't get it. The hinges are off.
There was I was waiting for us to go over this part before saying it. So I read somewhere, it was one of the discussions on this show. It was like, it's so tragic that she's killing people to satisfy death, to keep, you know, the kid alive, but like she continues to kill shit tons of people after his death. More so.
Exactly. That's not what's happening. She's just doing it because she wants to.
Yeah. It's you guys remember that scene from The Rise of Skywalker when Palpatine dies basically and he blasts Rey with his
Mhm.
freaking lightning, right? And Rey just throws it back at him and he
Yeah.
still keeps going even though it's killing him.
Yeah.
And there's the question of why didn't he freaking stop? That's basically suicide. I have the same question for these witches, basically.
Well,
Well,
based on the remark from Gay Kid earlier, it seems like they want you to believe that once it has started, they can't voluntarily stop it
Which
for
doesn't
some
Only
reason.
Agatha can stop it.
doesn't seem
Only
right
Yeah.
to
she
me,
has
but
the
whatever. Yeah,
power.
apparently she's. The
I
only
don't know
one to
how the
stop
fuck
it.
that works, but whatever you say.
Yeah, whatever.
So yeah, she does this until essentially present day.
Well, and the implication is that was
Killing.
her plan with her group, but like her group didn't have any powers, so that doesn't make any sense. Like, the way it's presented is it was her plan essentially to lure all of the crew that she gets there together to do it. But like, don't multiple of them? They can't do anything, right? I'm not mistaken, right? Like, multiple of them don't actually have powers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So why would it? It seems like that was her plan, was to lure them in to like steal their powers, right? That's the heavy implication. But how could she have even done it?
I guess I'm amused by how they're all like different witches, but they all still have the basic attack.
The same,
It's like a
basic
video
power,
game
yeah.
of fire, laser.
hmm
Yeah.
So like, what, she recruited a crew that she couldn't even like take advantage of anyway. So it's not even like a good reveal because it doesn't make sense, because the crew that she got together all had obvious problems that they needed to resolve. So it's not even congruent with what was being presented here. That like, oh, she was surprised that the road even appeared, you know, because it was something that she made up. It doesn't make sense, is what I'm saying.
Oh, and
It doesn't actually align with what we know about these characters at this point.
the other thing I saw speculated, but I don't see any evidence for it unless I missed something, was that it's a tragic story because Agatha gave up her son as a deal with death for the Darkhold. You remember the visual?
Yeah, that's right.
But,
But
like,
that's not.
There's no evidence for this in anywhere. Like, and if someone said like, "Well, you're supposed to put it together," I'd be like, "Really?" You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. I just feel like this is a bit much to interpret. I've got nothing to work with at all. And then, of course, like, how does Death feel about the Darkhold being transferred over to Wanda and then
Destroyed in every
destroyed in
universe.
every you know, it's like, how does any of that make sense? And I'm not sure. You know, if you told me gun to my head I had to guess if the writers were going for that, I'd be like, I don't think so.
It seems like if
We're
that
not
was
going
something
for
that they were
anything.
trying to work with, they might have made any mention of it whatsoever. I don't know.
Yeah,
And it doesn't help at all with anything.
Yeah.
Like being terrible.
Yeah.
Why would anyone like her
You know-
more if she gave up her son for power?
Yeah, like that's I don't know.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
still defend Wanda, so fuck it. I'm sure there are people out there who are like, no, actually, Agatha with it. I don't know. It's harder with Agatha because it's so like obviously evil. I that is there you go. Agatha's backstory.
Yeah.
A murderous rampage claiming what we can only believe to be hundreds upon hundreds of lives taken. She should be a scourge to anyone around her. Any witch should pull out a pistol whenever they see her and shoot
Remember,
her
Rex?
dead.
All these witches did not like her, knew she killed people, knew she power sucked people, knew the road was dangerous, knew the road didn't exist, but they all agreed to go with her.
Yep.
Mhm.
They did the whole
The show
thing.
is just annihilated at the core. Every character sucks. Like it's just a complete
Yeah.
fucking mess.
I think Sharon's like the only one who sort of is off the
Yeah, you're right. She probably is one of the best
She's
characters
a
in the show.
tragic, yeah.
If not the best.
She
and
probably
meanwhile,
is.
what is her reward
Not
for
counting the
that?
parents.
Yeah, nobody knows what happened to her. Meanwhile,
Nope.
Agatha gets to live on for eternity.
Yep, Sharon
Well,
is dead.
we're
She's an
jumping ahead a
innocent
bit there,
person,
but yeah.
but yeah, it's just a tragic.
One more
For
thing I
sure.
realize about this scene is that, I mean, at the beginning of the show, it kind of makes sense her sort of strategy of like sucking up the power with these people, and you could explain why it didn't work, of like pissing them off and having them attack her because she really doesn't have powers, right? So that verbal, I guess, attack is the only thing she has left. But back then, when she still had capacity, wouldn't it make more sense for her to sort of like bait people and attack them? And when they attack back, just stop and just suck in their power
Oh yeah, like
instead of
you're
like
saying, why bother with the
petty
entire
verbal.
system? Just yeah.
Yeah. And it would explain why this time it
No
just didn't work.
witnesses, secluded area.
Well, yeah,
Back
but
then, it would just they would always defend themselves if she attacked them, right?
you'd think. I mean, because like what you're getting at is that she always relied on the system of, here we go, let's do the song. Oh no, it didn't open the road. You all suck. You're all the worst. You're all bad
did.
until they shoot at her. As opposed to, wouldn't it be faster, easier, and more effective to, and account for what you said, Rags, to like make that the focus, to just find witches and then be like, hey, gotta show you something, you know, whatever have you, come see this, I gotta show you this, can I come back with you to do this, because blah blah blah, and then just be like, I'm gonna kill you, temporary blast of crappy magic, and then the person goes, oh my goodness, I'm gonna kill you, and then boom, and then suck them dry, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, this is obviously adjacent to the problems we highlighted of just what happens if people don't attack her, what happens if they attack her with physical, conventional means.
Like,
they don't show any of that
even the
because
show,
they're not accounting for any of
even
it.
even the show displays different kinds of like witchery and wizardry, I guess. Like, what if someone specializes in tarot? It just flips out some kind of like gravity
No, they like
stuff. I don't know.
Gambit or Bullseye.
Gambit, they throw cards. Yeah, throw cards at you.
Slice you up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there you go. There's our flashback. Agatha, it cuts to the first episode where the door appears for the first time in the basement of her house as she tries to bait all of the characters of this show to attack her. Because it turns out, as we said, gay kid in his room is what was needed to make the road appear. He has the ability to, he's like the magician tarot card that they had mentioned sometime earlier that I don't care about. But he can make like reality become, his imagination become reality. Wanda powers, stuff, things. Now, Agatha isn't like dead. She's physically dead, but she appears to him as a witch. She is very much like alive in the sense of she's a spirit who can think and communicate with people. She does not cease existing or move on to an afterlife that everybody else has to. And Lord knows at any point there could be a fucking spell that'll give her her body back, or give her a new body, or make her real. You know that it's just, if they continue this,
someone
that'll
else's
probably
body.
be something they do. Oh yeah, or someone else's body. Yeah,
And
you
hey,
don't
that
even
gives them an
need
excuse to
hers.
recast as well. Wow.
But
Mm.
yeah, she tells Gay Kid that, yep, you're the one who made all the stuff for the road. Unlike Wanda, you did something interesting with the power. She tells him that the song never meant anything. It's just a ruse that she used over the hundreds of years to lure in gullible witches and then murder them. It wasn't real until he made it real with his powers.
Okay.
Now he says, oh my god, if I made the road, then I killed everybody. And he laments the fact that he's a killer. But he doesn't lament the fact that he specifically tried to murder 2 of them. But he's sad that his subconscious power created a scenario that led to the deaths of people. And Agatha said, no, actually, you ended up saving a life because the plan was I was just going to kill all of those witches there in the basement on day 1.
Such a funny way to make him feel better that he has not thought that through at all. What she just says there, like, it's amazing. It's like, yeah, you kind of saved them because I was going to kill them. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Jen got out. Yeah, Jen escaped and she got her powers back and she floated away. The rest are dead, but I was gonna kill them all anyway. So really, through a crazy ersatz, bizarre, convoluted Ruth Goldberg magical contraption of a show, you actually saved Jen's life.
Stupid.
Really stupid.
Good stuff. No, it's great. Jen crawls out of the ground outside of Westview. We mentioned this earlier. Jen is
Yeah,
free. She
she's
survived. She floats away.
Good for her.
So
she'll probably never come back.
Probably
Probably not.
Probably not. No.
You're a side character in a side character's side story, so best of luck,
Yeah.
lady.
So Agatha goes and she tells Gay Kid that, yeah, you might feel bad about all the death and everything, but if you want to be a witch and survive, you need to get used to this feeling, which is something she told Nicholas hundreds of years ago. The accessory to her murders. So Gay Kid goes down to the basement, Agatha's basement, where the door of the road is still there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's sealed up behind them in the first episode when they went, but I guess it didn't actually. It's still there.
So,
you can open it up and go in again if you want, which
if it is
strange.
fully functional, then the Salem 7 should have had their trials.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
That would have been fun to watch them.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like, how is it fair that they not only did get trials, but they come in at the tail end of someone else's trial and get killed by that trial's ending? You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it doesn't.
While trying to
Doesn't
get
make
justice
sense.
for Agatha's murders of their parents.
They didn't think about fucking stupid. It's all stupid.
So, yeah, down to the basement. Gay Kid makes a magic ritual circle with candles and chalk over the door of the Witch's Road, and he uses his magic book to cast a spell and the brooch as an item to banish her spirit. Which is like, yeah, I mean, like, good,
Sure,
because
yeah.
she's evil.
Yeah,
she's
she's
like an
pretty
evil
evil.
ghost now. That's probably something you should do.
Be
And Agatha's
reasonable.
like, oh, no, don't do that.
It's kind of funny. It's just like, I'm just gonna do a spell on you that Pima kills you because you're like a spooky ghost, and she's like, wow, that's mean. It's like, you're kind of a horrible monster.
Yeah.
And then it's
You
like, oh,
deserve
okay,
you
yeah.
deserve worse than this, to be quite fair.
Mhm.
You deserve way worse than this. But yeah, he tries to banish her, and she's like, "Oh no, please stop! Don't do that!" And she says that you shouldn't do this. She like tries to touch him, but she can't. She's a ghost. But then, as she's panicking and begging him not to do that, she hits the brooch out of his hand, and then she can go and pick it up, and then she can like put it on her little ghost collar, and then she says that she can't face Nicholas, and that's why she's afraid to die. She can't face Nicholas.
That's such a
What
stupid
What does
line.
that mean? He was killing people with her. What is she talking
Yeah,
about?
Yeah.
You think Nicholas wouldn't mind? He's
Nicholas
clearly
is-
okay with this.
If he has grown
He
up
never
in
minded.
heaven or whatever the hell this show would purport they ended up, I guess he'd be in purgatory or whatever. I don't even know. I don't know
What if he
what the
went
fuck
to
would
Wakanda
happen.
heaven randomly?
Yeah.
Nicholas, the
He's in Wakanda
1756-year-old white kid, goes to Wakanda heaven.
Well, I was gonna say if he ages,
He's like, "Oh my god, it's
but
slave heaven."
he
I
may
didn't know
very well
this.
not
Oh my
age.
God.
But I was gonna say that if she finally gets up there, he probably would be like, "What the hell?" And she'd be like, "What? You were having me kill people, and you made it seem like it was okay, and that was the whole thing, and you kept killing people." Like, and then she's like, "Yeah, well, I mean, you admitted that you knew it was killing people, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what the fuck they would write. The idea that she's like, I can't face him. It's like, I don't know what you faced him plenty well when you were killing people with him. I don't even know like what am I supposed to do
Well,
with this."
It's a good thing that you're pondering what this potential conversation between dead Nicholas and dead Agatha would be, because Gay Kid says that whatever she did in the past, surely Nicholas would forgive her.
I mean, I don't even know.
She says that. Well, she says that when Gay Kid says things like that he reminds her of Nicholas.
Okay.
I don't know how.
Fuck these
Both of them
people.
are killers.
How did people get meaning from this? Like, where did they get it from? They're lying.
You know, lesbian smoochies.
They took it from the meeting store. They didn't get it from here.
Because it sounds vaguely adjacent to something that would in fact have meaning.
So, boy, are we close.
Yeah.
The two killers, Gay Kid and Agatha, the two murderers, they decide to team up. She will be his spirit guide, and he uses his magic to put the three names of the dead women on the floor that they killed: Sharon Davis, Alice Wu Gulliver, and Lilia Calderu.
Incredible they remembered Aaron.
Yeah, it is. I'm surprised they had the respect to not call her Mrs. Hart.
Mr. Shot.
They're gonna make any effort to contact their family members to let them know what happened.
Absolutely not.
Because
I wonder
Agatha
if we're
says
ever going to
one-
see the real parents again, either. If they'll ever show up ever again, if Billy ever shows up in
a
any
couple
other stuff
times
on
for
projects.
comedic relief for a few
Yeah,
minutes.
Oh,
Why would you
I
do
think
that?
that's actually
I think they're just
optimistic,
gone.
Rags. I think we will never see them again, and
They're
so
not
they will
part
be
of
left
his
for the rest
wacky
of their
adventures.
lives to wonder what happened to their son
Like, great, our
because they
son
don't
died
know
again.
the truth.
Also, I think Fringy mentioned this earlier, but they don't want to acknowledge the difficulty that would arise from Wanda being Billy's mother, like, kind of, I guess, maybe, and also this kid being theirs. You know what I mean?
No way. They don't even want, because it's. I mean, Billy lived with them for several years.
Yeah, they won't go
Meanwhile,
anywhere near
as
that.
mentioned previously, he only knew Wanda for what, like 5 days or something? But no, it'll just be moved past completely. Because this is kind of the nature of how these shows work, is that the repercussions, like the natural repercussions that would flow from what happened in the story, are forgotten as soon as the credits roll. It's like, oh, we're done. We're moving on. Next thing.
Before
now.
that, even.
The,
Yeah,
I mean,
between
it's true
scenes.
before that. The only continuity is the character exists. The storyline is basically irrelevant, or only insofar as it's useful for them for what they want to continue with. Like, I could imagine that there might even be a scene where Wanda meets Agatha, and it'll be chill. Like, it'll be fine. It won't even be something that is a confrontation, which it naturally should be. Like, she might even say, oh, I got over the whole, like, mental mind, the mind prison for 3 years. She might even just say that. Oh, water under the bridge or something, and then they'll just move on. These Marvel projects are so badly written. It's kind of unbelievable how consistently it's been the case.
Yeah, you think you'd fuck up and write something good every once in a
No,
while?
yeah,
Just,
maybe.
You would think that.
just like mistakenly, you would just randomly put like some coherent thoughts together that could be like
It is-
thematically tied together.
They have fully saturated the bottom of the barrel at this point.
Yeah.
And that's why
They
Star Wars
redefined
Outlaws
the
is a
bottom
7
the
out of 10.
barrel. They have redefined what the bottom of the barrel looks like multiple times over. Loki, Multiverse of Madness, She-Hulk, these shows like redefined what it means to be like a 1 out of 10 for a story.
Drilling for fucking oil.
Well, yeah,
They
let's
can't
wrap
find
up
any.
here. So Agatha says one door closes, and Gay Kid says, and another one opens. And the two, as a dynamic duo, a pair, go off as a team to find Tommy.
Yeah, the
And that
implication
is Agatha All Along season 1.
the implication is going to be he's going to go on his adventure and she's like his Mimir. She will just be helping out and commenting where she can. Which is just like, holy fuck, guys.
Has he forgotten that Agatha killed his family's dog? Along with all of the other misdeeds she has perpetrated?
She's killed
Well, he's
a
forgotten his
lot
own
of
murders.
people. Yeah, and he's killed
They're
people
both
too.
murderers. They're
That's
both
true.
killers. They're both
Yeah,
of
that's
them
true.
performed actions that they knew would lead to the deaths of innocent people. Yeah, Agatha All Along. That's what
It's
happened
so
in the
bad.
show that none of you
It's
watched.
so bad. I'll never think about it again, thankfully.
I won't either. It'll pop up in my mind every once in a while. It's just like, oh, a bad thing to compare something to.
Oh, it probably won't for me. I'll flush it. This one's getting flushed out of my brain. I don't. By the way, I feel like the only meaningful thing to do is segue into. I don't know that there should be any reason why anybody should be particularly excited for the next few years of Marvel. I don't know that there's any reason to believe that, like, after 3 years, like a dozen TV shows, about a dozen films. It actually has been that many, hasn't it? It's been like a ridiculous number of projects. That there is any reason to think that things will improve dramatically.
To be as clear as possible, if the Marvel people were like, hey, EFAP, what do you guys want? A show about a guy who builds a suit in a cave with a box of scraps into a weapon that's going to do this, that, and the other thing. Lesbian witches, or, I don't know, a woman who, from grief, creates a spell that causes the blah, blah, blah. Basically, WandaVision. We would opt for the Iron Man choice, more than likely. But the reality would be, of course, that we've usually said this. We'd be like, even the lesbian witches one is like, yeah, sure. I mean, it could be good if it's written by the right people doing the right thing. That's like a broad assessment of it, blah, blah, blah. Now, flipping it around, if they say, you've had your fill of fucking lesbian witch shows and nonsense crap for the past few years, we're going to start bringing you cool shit like the Fantastic Four, Daredevil, and... fuck me, oh, we won't believe this. We've got Iron Man's coming back, but he's going to be Doctor Doom. It's like, why would any of that matter? You guys know how to write. Like, what?
Yeah, if anything, it's just going to be really annoying. Like, if Daredevil comes, I'm not optimistic about Daredevil. I get the impression that's going to be not fun. I sure hope I'm wrong. I sure hope that the show ends up being good. But the precedent of Marvel television shows and films for the last 3 years means that the only reasonable conclusion to draw is it's probably going to be badly written. Unfortunately. Same goes for any of these films that they got coming
the idea
out.
that, like, we're correcting course by starting to make it about things that you care about. One, I mean, they're fucking bleeding money. Of course they would make these decisions eventually. But two, that was never necessarily the issue. Like, we need you to be able to write again, whether or not you're making it about Agatha or Iron Man.
You have to understand what it means to tell a story. Fundamentally, you need to understand what it means to tell a story, that the characters need to be consistent with how they're established and go on journeys that are meaningful, thematically relevant. You need to have plots that are broadly coherent. Like, these are important things that need to be prioritized, and I don't know that there are... I feel like you have to conclude that they aren't a priority, because if they were, some of these projects would be good. It's not like if you go into things with the best writing intentions that you're always gonna create something amazing. You know, it's like even the greatest filmmakers occasionally, make errors, but you can't get this consistent a result if you're trying, like you just
I feel it was very well illustrated by all of this would be Star Wars. We've been doing all kinds of shows that the fans would theoretically just love, but they've been hating. And then the one show that fans are probably not going to be very interested in, spin-off of a spin-off, essentially, was the only one that was well written. Like, it's you kind of need both at this point if your IP is in the fucking grave, which both of them are. You could have floated all that you wanted post TFA and post phase, well, the end of phase 3, right? Phase 4 and 5, phase 4 primarily. You could have gotten eyes on any project you put out, but those eyes are tired and septic. Like, there's a lot of problems, to say the least. And so, yeah,
you're asking people to commit.
Agatha All Along is just another one, but at least we have gone through it such that now we will know why certain things happen if they happen in future
Who knows if it leads anywhere, though.
And hopefully we entertained you all somewhat.
I don't know. Yeah, the survival of the show might depend on the fact that it has a relatively low budget compared to a lot of other stuff. I think it was just under 40 million for them to make the show, which is like, wow, $40 million made this. Holy shit.
But even if it's successful, I don't see that it like making more of this doesn't mean that your Captain America film is going to make money. You know, I don't even know how much overlap there actually exists in the audience for this show that will show up for Thunderbolts or will show up for Fantastic Four.
I'd say Captain Falcon is in trouble. I don't know what the fuck that's going to do box office
wise. How big that budget seems to be, and
well, and it's just it's an actual risk, but in the worst way, if you know what I mean. Like with how bad everything is, and then how unappealing the story seems to be, and then how it's been reshot a whole bunch of times. It's probably going to be a gobbled, edited to fuck movie. And then everyone's kind of annoyed and confused at the MCU. It's just, this was not... Which is why, like, Doctor Doom is more of a sure thing in an Avengers film played by Robert Downey Jr. There's a lot of ways they can market that. And Avengers as an IP hasn't yet seen the light of day beyond Endgame, so we don't know how that's going to play out exactly. But, I don't know, man. It's just... it's what we do at this point. We track the MCU's chapters here and there to see how they're doing, and then they're still doing awful. This, though, you may have seen, guys, through different sites here and there, that Agatha All Along has been considered one of the greatest things Marvel's put out in a long time, and I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. It's awful.
It's like we're speaking. It's like contacting a different civilization, and you just don't have any, like an alien civilization. Like, how do you get through to someone that no one can tell you anything about the show. No one can tell you anything about the show and like connect the dots, and everything that they think is good is built off of lies and just nonsense and incoherence. It is a fucking tragedy to art and to human expression that people think that this is a good show and sing its praises. It is an actual tragedy.
I mean, my consolation is I think it's meaningless because I don't think it's going to translate in any way, right? People say it's great, but like, I don't think the show's going to have a legacy. Who's going to be talking about the show in a year? No. Probably nobody. So like,
a couple weeks and it'll just float away.
In a sense, that's the consolation, is like what's hollow. It's the same kind of stuff that people were trying to brute force that The Acolyte was like liked and good. That was something that was definitely trying to sort of get, you know, wedged in as the perspective. And it's just like, well, yeah, but at the end of the day, if it's good, it's going to endure. People are going to go back to certain scenes and want to talk about it, or that character and what that character meant to them, or how the story was meaningful thematically. And I just don't see that this show has any longevity in that regard. Now that it's done, I imagine it's just going to disappear very quickly. Who knows, though, you know?
Star Wars seems to just have living evidence of this with Andor, again. Andor
I was about to bring
in
that up.
terms of word of mouth, and in terms of people's like long-term memories of Star Wars projects, I guess. The only other thing from the TV shows that could even consider boasting something like that is Mando Season 1, which people still have a high opinion of for some reason.
I think that the opinion's gone down compared to post Season 1 even. Just like weeks and months and now years, like I think it's gone down. Andor's has only gone up. It's just kept going up. I think
it's the vibe of a promise that was unfulfilled.
Well, yeah, it's arguably quite tainted by future seasons, but it's also just like, who's going back? How many people are honestly going back? I don't know. I'm not going to say nobody is, of course. And the Season 1, for the record, is the best of the Mando seasons.
It is. It's still bad, but it is the least bad.
Yeah.
It can enjoy its prize.
We just watched a segment from Every Frame of Pause, or EFAP, hosted by YouTubers Mahler, Rags, and Fringy, and joined by a cycling variety of guests across the internet. They critically analyze media with exhaustive detail while pausing at every single frame. Subscribe to Mahler's channel to catch new episodes live on Saturdays, and tune into the EFAP channel to see full episodes, movie and TV commentaries, and gaming streams. You can also subscribe here to EFAP Highlights for daily highlights, supercuts, and shorts. Links to all the relevant channels can be found in the description section below, as well as links to the original videos and ways to support the crew. Thanks for watching.